Hello there! My name is Sherry Simpson. I am your transformational life coach and your hypnotherapist. I wanted to talk to you today about autoimmune conditions and diseases. There have been far too many people I have been hearing about recently who have attracted these conditions. And I know I say attracted because many people don't think that they create their own reality, or if they do, they believe they create their own reality only in the good things. Hi, Keith. And most people don't understand that they create their own reality in everything, which means that if you call in an autoimmune condition or disease, then you've created it, you've called it in, you've attracted it for some reason. Most of us use the law of attraction sort of willy-nilly, and we don't really concentrate or understand. Hi there, Suzanne. We don't really understand that we're attracting all of these things. So I wanted to talk about autoimmune conditions and diseases because, thank you so much for all the love. I wanted to talk about this because I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which is a thyroid condition. It's an overactive thyroid condition, but I was diagnosed probably about 8 years ago, and I healed it about 3.5 years ago. So it's possible. And I wanted to talk about what it is and how I did it and how you might be able to do it, because usually the doctors will tell you that the only option that you have is to follow whatever their recommendations are. And so I disagree. When I went into the doctors, I had a whole bunch of weird conditions. I had a bunch of weird symptoms. I had chronic headaches ever since I was a kid. I had slow bowels ever since I was a kid. And when I had this condition, when it started coming on, I was sweating profusely. I was extremely anxious. I had chronic headaches still. My digestion was wonky, so I would have the trots and then it would be really slow, and I was like, what is going on? I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. That was the worst part for me, was that I was working as a computer scientist, and I was trying my best to remember things, and my brain just wouldn't function. It just wouldn't work. And my period stopped for a whole year, which is kind of freaky to a woman who shouldn't have any issues, right? There's nothing that should say, your period's going to stop in your 30s. You're like, what? So all of these things happened. And interestingly enough, I went to a psychic, and I know I work as a psychic now, and I thought that was kind of an interesting draw. I went to a psychic, and she said to me, you need to give up gluten. You're allergic to gluten, and if you don't give it up, you're going to have a knee surgery because you're going to need a knee replacement. And I was like, I don't want that. So I ended up going to a woman who is an NAET therapist, Sandy Wright. She's in Windsor or Tecumseh. She's amazing. And I also saw Paula Favaro, and they used to work in the same office, but they're not in the same office anymore. And they both did energy work. And I had no idea what that was at the time. I had no idea what options I had, because the endocrinologist, when I finally went to the doctor, she sent me to the endocrinologist. He took the test and said, your heart rate is like unbelievable. No wonder you can't sleep. He's like, because my heart rate was like, my resting heart rate was like, and then my working out heart rate was even higher. It was like insane. Like almost like, wow, I'm glad I didn't have a heart attack sort of insane. But he said to me, I'm going to give you these little tiny pills. They look little tiny. You don't think that these little tiny pills are actually going to do anything to you, but these little tiny pills that he gave me, they took my energy level and my thyroid from way up here to me being a slug on the couch. And so I know from that feeling what depression feels like for people, because I would sit when I didn't have to do anything, like on the weekend or as soon as I got home for work, and I would just sit on the couch and stare out the window all day. All day. I didn't care if somebody drove a car into the window that I was looking out of. I didn't care if my house burned down around me. I had nothing. There was it was like my soul was gone. It was so bizarre, and I don't want that for anyone, any of that. And so the endocrinologist told me that when I took this little pill, I would feel better. And then he would do another test, and he would ideally, or usually 99% of people need to have their thyroid ablated, so they kill it essentially, and then after that happens, he would put me on medication forever to bring my thyroid to a balance so that it would be happy based on medication. And I was like, no. So what I did was I started seeing the NAET therapist, and I was doing all the energy work, and I got into crystals, and I understood. I was teaching yoga, and I got into the chakras, and I did a whole bunch of this stuff. And I took the pills that he gave me, and I weaned myself off of them. So I weaned them down and weaned them down and weaned them down. Of course, I didn't tell him I was doing that. He probably would have freaked out. But I ended up being able to balance my thyroid by changing a whole bunch of things. So the thyroid is usually something that tells you, when is it my turn? So people with thyroid conditions tend to be people pleasers. They tend to put everyone else before themselves. They have a tendency to just put themselves last. And I literally felt, it was kind of scary, but I literally felt like I lived in the basement and the rest of the people on the planet actually lived above on normal ground, and people like Oprah and Wayne Dyer were actually like higher up. So I had this weird staircase level of how society worked, and I had to get rid of that. I had to put myself up on the same level and bring the people who are way up there down to the regular level as well, in order to see everyone as equals. And so that was like a huge shift for me. Another shift was just speaking my truth, telling people when I didn't want to go places, and telling people that I didn't want to hang out with them. And that was really hard. And so I ended up having to separate myself from many people to create boundaries. So that's really important when it comes to specifically the throat. But in general, for autoimmune conditions and diseases, what does it mean? It means that your body is essentially fighting itself. So, thank you. So some of the cells in your body have decided to fight against other cells. And then you actually have this little army, this little war going on in your own body because your cells are fighting each other. That is what an autoimmune condition is. So that means you have to figure out why part of you is fighting part of you. And interestingly enough, when this happens, it's usually, from my own personal experience, it's usually not completely physical. For me, there was a big physical aspect because I was eating wheat, and I was told by the psychic and the NAET therapist that I needed to get rid of gluten. And when I got rid of gluten, it was like, it was like, hallelujah. My body felt so much better. And I don't completely avoid it now, but I know I'll eat a little bit here and there just so that I don't create this like crazy allergy of it. So I eat a little bit. I don't worry so much if it's in things, but I won't eat like a whole loaf of bread because I know that would be torturous for my body. Because I also had upsets in my stomach because gluten is a really it's like rough, it's like sandpaper. So when it gets into some people's digestive systems, not everyone's, what it does is you have these little cilia that are on the side of your small intestine, and it will come through and shave them off because it's so rough and your cilia aren't used to something like that rough coming through. And what happens is these little cilia things, they actually take the nutrients from the food that are going by and they absorb them into your system, so they go into the bloodstream, and then that's why you feed your brain, and that's how you feed your muscles, and that's how you grow your body. So because my brain was all crazy, I figured out later that the sandpaper from the gluten was creating holes in my system, so the food was actually leaking through, and that's how you get leaky gut. And when it was leaking through, it was actually not allowing me to get all the nutrients. So I was working out like a banshee because I was gaining weight and then losing weight and then gaining weight and then losing weight. And so I probably am like 112 pounds now, and I was up to like 130, 135 maybe, and I was like, I'm so heavy, and I worked out a lot, so I looked like I was just like Superwoman buff, but I knew that it wasn't that. I knew it wasn't that. So what happens is because you get leaky gut, you're not getting all the nutrients. Your body isn't being fed. So your mind doesn't get fed. Your muscles don't get fed. You're exhausted because you're not getting fed. So that is an important thing if you are feeling tired, if you're feeling like your digestion is crazy. Gluten is something for sure that you could try to eliminate. Even for a month, you'll find a big difference if it's something that you've got created an allergy or an intolerance to. But autoimmune conditions and diseases in general are essentially about the thoughts you think, the emotions that you have, and how you've been treating yourself based on the thoughts you've been thinking and the emotions that you have. So let's talk about that in the law of attraction a little bit. So the law of attraction is a universal law, which means that like attracts like. And if like attracts like, it means that if I feel sad, I am sending out this vibration of sadness. And when people come across me, or when the universe connects with me like a boomerang, then it thinks, and other people can feel that I'm sad, and it will think, the universe will think, oh, well, she's sad, and that's what she's sending out to the universe. She must want more of that, so I'm going to send her back more sadness. So it could be that more people who are sad are attracted to me because I'm feeling sad. So I know that it's not like we want to control all of our emotions and not be sad, or, you know, not be depressed or not be angry or not be bored and just try to be happy all the time. It's not possible, but we really want to be cognizant of how long we are getting stuck in certain emotions, because if you're getting stuck in certain emotions and you're playing in that area of being stuck in those emotions for a long time, the universe is certainly going to match that for you, and that's often not what you want. So how does the vibration actually work? Usually, well, Abraham Hicks believes all the time that you can't have an emotion without a thought. So as humans, we have a thought first, and the thought actually triggers an emotion, and then the emotion is something that we sort of vibrate out or exude, and then how we're feeling depends on how we act, and that's how we act physically out in the world, and that's how we get things back to us by this vibration. So Abraham Hicks is, a collection of spirits that Esther Hicks channels, and she's been doing this for 25 years probably. So she's well versed at this, and if you've never heard of Abraham Hicks, or if you've never watched any of them, there's a ton of YouTube videos on any topic you can find, and the wisdom is really, really good. So I totally recommend that. That's what my coaching program is in. I actually have a certification in law of attraction coaching through Christy Whitman's program. It's called Quantum Success, and we learned all about Abraham Hicks and all about their teachings. It was phenomenal, really. But when you're talking about the law of attraction, where it comes down to and how you actually heal your body is, 1, put yourself first. 2, start paying attention to what you're thinking, because many of us have a tendency to think horrible thoughts about ourselves and to like beat ourselves up and to tell ourselves we suck and we're not enough and we did this wrong and we did this bad and we're not good enough, and your body hears that. Your body hears that. So if your body feels like it's not good enough, if your body feels like you're always last, that you never get to put yourself first, that you're not satisfied, that you're not fulfilled, then it actually those emotions get sunk into your body, and it's as though your body is trying to talk to you. So one thing that you can do if you have an illness or if you have issues in your body is literally to talk to your body and say, right knee, what is it that you're trying to tell me? So usually on the front of the body, it has to do with things that are going on now or into the future, because our forward is the future. If things are going on in the back of your body, it has a tendency to be about the past, about things that are going on with you that you're remembering. You're bringing things from the past back to you. And that's an interesting thing for me to bring up at the moment, because your cells regenerate completely every 7 years. So if you have, hi Deborah, if you have an autoimmune condition, if you have knee pain, if you have anything, you can heal it within 7 years, because those cells are not going to be the same 7 years from now. They can't be. Your body has to regenerate, which means that the issue with people keeping all of these things is they feel like, oh, they're from my ancestors. Okay, you don't have to keep the things from your ancestors. You can let that go. You don't have to keep the same thoughts. You don't have to keep the same patterns. So part of the reason people draw in conditions like arthritis and blood conditions and things that are genetic is because they are afraid that they're going to get it, and they keep thinking, I'm afraid I'm going to get this, I'm afraid I'm going to get this, I'm afraid I'm going to get this. Every woman in my family gets this. Everybody in my family gets this condition. Everybody has it. Everybody dies at 55 or whatever it is. That is you asking the universe to receive that, because you're emoting that thing of, hey, why don't you bring me this condition? Because that's all I can think about. So you really want to be in a place where you're allowing yourself to control your own thoughts, because your thoughts are going to bring the emotions to you. So if your thought is everybody in my family dies at 55, then you're going to have a fear about that, and the fear is going to emote out as a vibration to the universe, and the universe is going to match by bringing you more things to be afraid of. It doesn't necessarily mean that you will die at 55 because you're drawing in that exact condition, but you are going to experience more things related to fear because that is the emotion you're exuding. So that means the best way for you to start healing your body is to listen to your body. Listen to your body as though your body is this wisdom of energy that is trying to tell you things. When it comes to your hips all the way down to your legs, usually it has to do with moving forward. Do you have a fear in moving forward? Is it in your hips and your pelvis? Do you have a fear in connecting intimately with people? Do you have a fear of building things, of creating things, of manifesting things because you'll do it wrong? So you want to really tap into, what is my body actually trying to say with the things that are going on? And if you have things going on with say your arms, it's about how you give and about how you receive. So you really want to pay attention to, am I over giving or am I under receiving? How is that actually functioning? Am I giving to everyone else but not allowing them to give back to me? Am I not allowing myself to give to me? So you really want to tap into the wisdom of the information and what you are thinking. So when it took me about 3 years, I think, to heal the autoimmune condition, and I found that I did a whole bunch of different things, so I can't tell you exactly what I did in order to make it work. But I did get into energy, I did journal, I got into the Akashic Records, and I learned who I was at soul level, and that really helped me understand energy and connection and the past and things that I can heal. I started building a deeper relationship with my higher self, so that now I ask my higher self questions, even like when I'm going to somewhere like to hike. Yesterday I was going to go to this new place, and I'm like, oh, higher self, is it for my greatest good to go here? And I got a no. And I said, what about here? No. What about here? Yes. And I was like, okay. So I had a couple of different options, and I actually just asked my higher self which one would be more beneficial. And so I went to that place. So you can ask your higher self all sorts of things. You know, is it for my benefit to wake up at this time, to eat this food, to, you know, go to this place, to do this thing, to talk to this person? When you have a relationship like that, you start trusting the wisdom that comes into you, and then you trust it and you act on it more easily. So that's certainly something that I have done. What else did I do? I started setting boundaries. I started separating myself from people who didn't serve me and connecting with the ones who did. And now I'm helping other people do this. So I connect in with other people, and I help them discover who they are at soul level. I help them discover what it is that nurtures them and how to create this intimate relationship with the higher self. And I just got into doing hypnosis. It's not something that I have always done. Hypnosis is something that I always, in high school, some of you are here from high school, I believe. In high school, hypnotists used to come in and put people up on the stage, and they used to act crazy, and it used to be kind of embarrassing, and nobody wanted to be hypnotized, and so it was like a show. So that's how my idea of hypnotism was, or hypnotherapy. And so when I started taking Marissa Peer's course, the Rapid Transformation Therapy, it opened my eyes to how hypnosis can actually help us heal like our inner children and things that have happened in our lives as adults, teenagers, or children, or even in the womb or past lives, because you get into the wisdom of it. And so you don't need to do this in order to heal yourself, but the conscious mind usually wants to understand the logic. The conscious mind wants to understand the root cause. And once you get the root cause, it's kind of like weeding. So if you're in the garden and you're pulling something off and you don't get the root, then it's as though that weed keeps growing back. But if you get the root cause of things and you understand, oh, this is why I'm embarrassed speaking in front of people, or oh, this is why I don't want to speak my truth, or this is why I don't feel enough, or this is why I don't feel lovable, or whatever it is, because it's usually one of four things. It's usually people don't feel lovable, they don't feel enough, they feel rejected, or they feel like they don't fit in. So those four things are usually what creates major things in the body, because we use the law of attraction. So we use the law of attraction to see the truth, which is actually an illusion about why that's true. So it's like saying, every time I get into my car, the windshield wipers don't work, or something like that. Then every time you get in, if you are affirming that as something that's true, the universe has to provide that because you believe it's true. So if you believe you're not enough, then every single thing that you're doing, every way that you're presenting yourself is going to make you believe that you're not enough. So with hypnotherapy, what we do is we get into 3 or 4 or 5 of the really vitally important root cause situations or experiences that you've had at some time in your life or past lives, because I've had people go back into past lives as well. Then you actually understand from this adult current perspective about what has gone on. And sometimes you can do this with kids too. So kids are actually really great to hypnotize. So you don't necessarily have to be an adult to do this, but you go back to these different scenarios and we can sort of dig apart from different perspectives what is going on with the situations, and then we take those situations and we realize these things have created whatever is going on in my body or my life right now, and you sort of build a bridge between them to understand what's going on. And then you understand that you're not the 5-year-old anymore, you're not the 12-year-old anymore, you're not the 7-year-old, you're not in a past life anymore, so you don't have to keep those same beliefs and those same patterns and those same emotions and thoughts. That you can actually create new ones because you want to be someone else, you want to be different, you want to have health and vitality in your body, and you want to have money flowing into your bank account, and you want to have perfect, beautiful relationships, and you want to travel and experience things that are joyful, and you want to be motivated and inspired, and you want to be confident. So we infuse those things into you during a hypnosis session, and then you get a recording. And the recording you listen to about 21 days, usually once or sometimes twice a day. It depends on and how vigilant you are on doing that. And then it reprograms your thoughts because you're doing it from a logical place of you understanding everything, but a subconscious place of you getting into sort of the root cause. And then you can reprogram it. So it's really cool. So that is one thing that I'm doing now. In order for you to heal yourself, if that is not something that serves you, you could also do EFT or tapping, which is sort of the same thing. You bring information to the forefront about how you're feeling and where the thoughts are, and you sort of like vent while you're tapping, and then you reprogram the positive things in again. So you're revealing and healing and then reprogramming the good. You could also change your diet. Diet is maybe like 25%, because I believe we have a physical body, a mental body, an emotional body, and a spiritual body. So essentially you can heal yourself by doing only one of those, but it's way more powerful if you incorporate all 4. So if you make changes physically in your diet, and if you incorporate exercise that serves you rather than things that you should do. So many people are doing a lot of high impact stuff, but the high impact stuff doesn't serve them. So they might be better off doing yoga or Pilates or swimming because it's not high impact. So you really want to pay attention to what thrives, what makes my body thrive, what makes my soul vibrate and live and feel, fulfilled. You really want to incorporate more of those things into your physical experience. Mentally, you want to be your cheerleader, your own cheerleader, and you want to stop other people from crossing your boundaries, and you want to set other people, stop them from saying bad things about you, because some people will, not meaning, but people can say, oh, you're always sarcastic. And then you're like, oh, am I? I don't mean to be sarcastic. And then you sort of internalize that. So you want to set the boundary with people about what they say about you. One of the other things that's hugely important about words is if you have been diagnosed with a condition, or if you have pain, or if you have headaches or digestive issues or anything, stop calling them mine. So most people will be like, my headaches, my autoimmune condition, my lupus, my fibromyalgia, my constipation, or whatever it is. Don't own it. Stop owning it. Because when you own it, your body, your mind, your subconscious, your conscious wants to keep it. It's just like saying losing weight. When you want to lose weight, most people have this connection to the word loss. That means losing your keys. It means panic. It means losing loved ones. It means losing a job. It's grief. It's sorrow. It's sadness. It's panic. So when your body is trying to lose weight, it gets into this panic state as you start to release it, and then your body wants to hoard it all back, so you're gaining more weight than what you lost. That's not what you want to do when you're on a weight loss journey. What you want to do is release weight, because when you release things, then you let them go and you don't call them back. So the mental stuff is really important with your thoughts and how you're speaking even about yourself and how other people are speaking about you. So if you're hearing other people say, oh, she has this and she has that, and you want to stop them and say, no, I don't want you to talk about this anymore, because you're actually adding stuff into the universal vibration that is like resonating back to me. So when you say something about someone else, be really cognizant about what you're saying and how you're saying it. You don't want to stick them with something, and the universe doesn't exactly work like that, but I think you know what I mean. You know that you just want to be really careful about what you're saying and what you're thinking about yourself and about others. So the next thing is about your emotions. You really want to control your emotions, and you don't want, like I said earlier, you don't necessarily want to only be happy, because when you're in a place of lower energy, when you're in a place of sadness, when you're in a place of pain or anger or whatever it is, then you actually, I'm hearing Abraham Hicks's term, rockets of desires. You actually send out requests to the universe because you know that the situation that you're in kind of sucks. And when that situation that you're in kind of sucks, you're actually sending these vibrations and requests out to the universe for something better. So it's actually a good time when we're not feeling well to understand how good we actually normally feel and how good we want to feel. So we can create these different perspective shifts of what we really want and desire by finding out what we don't want. So the negative emotions aren't bad, but the negative emotions are bad if you stay there, because you have the capacity to change your thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, you change your emotions. So if you're in pain, you want to stop thinking about whatever hurts. You want to stop saying, I have a headache. You want to stop thinking, oh my God, I have a headache. You actually want to do something different. Put on some theta music. Theta music is music that is the same level as what you get into in hypnosis. It's like that same level of rapid eye movement sleep. It's that same level of like I'm hearing balanced consciousness. So it's as though you're in this place where you're thinking about something else, where you're sort of raising your vibration with music. So you want to try something, whether it's, going somewhere, eating something, whatever it is, but you want to try something different to stop focusing on whatever it is. Because when you keep focusing on what you want, the universe is like, okay, you keep focusing on this, so I'm just going to bring you more pain and bring you more fear and bring you whatever. So you really want to pay attention to that. So that is the emotional aspect, and the spiritual aspect is, and I know not everyone who follows me believes in the spiritual and the energy, but I know that you can resonate with gut feelings. So I'm sure that you get gut feelings about things, that if you're walking somewhere and you feel like a creepy guy behind you, you can tell. And that is energy. If you have a sensation about something that's going to happen, you sort of have a premonition almost, like it's this weird feeling like something's going to happen, you don't know why. That's energy. So you want to pay attention to the energy that is going on around you. There's a few things that I can tell you that you can try. One is talking to the archangels, talking to your spirit guides, talking to your angels, asking them for help, and listening to the signs in your body, listening to the messages, paying attention to the messages going on around you. So one of the things that I like to do is call in Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael has a shield and a sword, and he is the protector archangel. He can be in multiple places at once, so don't feel like, oh my God, I don't want to call him in and then him not be able to help someone else. No. Step into your boundaries and allow yourself to call him in, because he can be in multiple places at once. He can be in millions of places at once. So call him in and say, Archangel Michael, please come to me now. Just like that. Archangel Michael, please come to me now. And then pay attention to how you feel. Do your hands warm up? Do you get a fuzzy feeling? Do you hear something? So pay attention to how that works. Sometimes I'll actually call Archangel Michael in when I'm cold, because I often feel my hands and my feet warm up when he's present. So when he's there, you want to ask him, Archangel Michael, please cut all cords connecting to me and reconnect them to source. Hi, Daniela. So when you do that, what you're doing is disconnecting your energy. So we have a tendency to allow other people, if we're people pleasers or if we're putting ourselves last, people are actually expecting things from us, and it's as though they're connecting cords to us, and we're sort of like corded, and sometimes hooked. Sometimes hooked can be there as well. And it's as though people are expecting us to give them things, and they're sort of taking our energy by being corded. Cords are common with people that you're in relationships with, but they're not always symbiotic. So, which means that they're not always beneficial on both sides. So if you are cutting cords, know that the ones that are symbiotic will just automatically be recreated because they're balanced on both sides. But cutting the cords for the people who are not symbiotic means that you need to set your boundaries, because it's really cool sometimes how when you cut your cords, and you cut specific cords sometimes, the person who you cut the cord with will email you, or will phone you, or will call you, and you'll be like, oh, that's weird. Because energy works, and energy is really powerful. So I usually like to have the cords cut, and then I reconnect them into source so that people know that they can get their own energy themselves, or I send them into the ground so that they can be grounded. Doesn't matter, just do whatever feels right. One of the other things that you can do if you're calling in healing is to call in Archangel Raphael. Raphael has this like beautiful emerald green light, and he's the healing archangel, and he can heal anything. So it's not just physical stuff. He can heal whatever's in your aura. He can heal mental thoughts and patterns, physical things, emotional things, whatever. So you can call him in to heal you. You can even do that before you go to bed, so you can get a healing while you're sleeping and then wake up in the morning and feel better. In order to release an archangel, you just say thank you and have the intention that as you say thank you, you're allowing them to go so they can be wherever else they need to be. One of the other things that I like to do, especially if you have issues with a particular area of the body, like if headaches or something with your digestion, or like a knee or ankle problem or something, is to imagine that there's a screen beside you, and on that screen, from wherever area, I'm using my right knee for some reason right now. I used to have a lot of issues with that knee, but it's been fabulous for the last 5 or 10 years now. So I had knee surgery when I was 18, actually, so it was probably connected to the allergy to gluten that I didn't know about. So you pretend that you have a movie screen or a TV screen beside you, and as though you can go in and take one of those not perfect cells that are in the area of the body that you want to heal, and it's as though you can slap it onto that TV screen, and you can sort of see it, and you know that it's malformed. You remember, like, what is it, like grade 10 biology that we did the cell? So you just imagine that it's like not perfect, and then you imagine actually cleaning up the cell as though you're infusing it with perfection, and it's got a perfect boundary on it, and all the organelles inside are all perfect, and the nucleus is perfect, and all the DNA in it is perfect, and it's absolutely perfect, and you're just sort of infusing it with love, and you're infusing it with healing, whatever works for you, whatever comes out. And then you take that cell and you put it back into the area, and then you ask it to replicate. You ask that cell to replicate to that whole area or to the whole body, because you've healed it and cleaned it. And then it's as though you do that process as many times as you need to daily before you go to bed, or even when you wake up in the morning. And it's as though that is how you're reprogramming your cells to be, because the way that they have been is not serving you. So you tell them, you command them how to serve you. So that's definitely something else that you could do. So hopefully this was beneficial for you. So call in your guides, call in your angels, call in the archangels, do some energy work. Pay attention to your thoughts, because your thoughts are extremely powerful. Pay attention to your emotions, because those are what you're attracting and receiving from the universe. Allow yourself to give and to receive in balance. Allow yourself to set some boundaries. Allow yourself to do more things that light you up. Many people are like, oh, I don't have enough time. Okay, you're asking for not enough time. So you want to call into the universe. I always have enough time for everything I love. I always have enough time for everything I love. If you were to do that in a series of EFT, literally, I'm going to go through the 8 points with you. On the inner of the eyebrow, I always have enough time for all the things I love. Outer eyebrow, I always have enough time for all the things I love. Below the eye, I always have enough time for all the things I love. Underneath the nose, I always have enough time for everything I love. Above the chin, I always have enough time for everything I love. On the collarbone, just below the collarbone, I always have enough time for everything I love. And then around the bra strap area, if you're female, it's about the center of your bra strap. I always have enough time for everything I love. And the last part is on the crown of the head. I always have enough time for everything I love. So you could do that about 8 times, and you could actually reprogram that into yourself. And every time you catch yourself saying, I don't have enough time, you stop and you say, I'm choosing not to do that with my time. So it's a choice, not something that you're blaming the universe for because you don't have enough time. So really pay attention to what you're thinking, how your words are flowing, how your body is feeling, and really get into that energy of, I desire this, I desire this. So if you do want a session with me, the hypnosis sessions are about 90 minutes each. They're really powerful, and we work over a Zoom call, so it's a video call where I connect in with you and take you into hypnosis and sort of teach you what that means. and then take you back to different situations, and then go through and actually heal whatever is going on in all of those things, and then infuse you with the powerful words and the powerful patterns and habits that you desire to have. And then you get this recording for, it's usually about 15 to 20 minutes is the recording part, and then that you want to listen to every day for 21 days. So it's extremely powerful for lots of things, actually. Powerful for fears of anything, phobias of anything, addictions of all kinds, including smoking, sugar cravings. That's one thing that I had when I was eating a lot of gluten. I had candida terribly, so that's like a crazy sugar cravings. I actually used an essential oil to heal that, which is fabulous. It worked in about 3 weeks. So you can connect with me for that as well. What else is hypnosis good for? All kinds of healing in the body, confidence, not feeling enough, not feeling lovable, feeling rejected, lots of things. Message me if it's something that's interesting to you, because I really believe that I would have healed faster if I had known all of the things that I know now. And I understand that I didn't go through that process faster because I'm meant to actually teach other people, and I had to sort of learn the whole process of things and what worked and what didn't work so that I could help other people with that. And I don't believe that we all are supposed to follow the same path of healing. So if you are meant to follow the allopathic or the regular medical route, then that will feel like a good path for you. It will feel right for you. If that path feels like torture, if it feels like it's not right, or if it feels like a drag, that is not your path. So you want to pay attention to how your body feels about the things that you're doing and what processes you're taking to heal. If you feel like you're drawn to yoga and you think that will be healing, try it. If you feel like journaling will be healing for you, try it. So you really want to focus on things that feel good, because not everyone is going to follow the same path. So I usually have a tendency to be able to tap into people's energy and to bring suggestions forward on what works. But ideally, you're going to do that for yourself. So hopefully that served you. If you do have any questions or comments, you can leave them below or send me a message, and I will connect with you soon. Namaste. Happy healing to you all.